As we start here, the terminal has already been opened, and we're about to boot the partition. First choice that we make is option number 5, and we're going to change the boot list to boot to the network device. So option 1, boot P, set as boot device, option number 2, back to the menu, the M. Let's just verify that there is no IP address set to this interface. Running through the menu here, IP parameters are all at 0. And now we'll simply try and boot. And lo and behold, we have an error message. BA something 103. That's not good. It happens sometimes if you've just changed the boot list that it doesn't actually do a good boot P address. So we'll just wait to go back to the menu, press option X again, boot again, and same error message. Guess what? I forgot to reset the NIM server to boot. So we'll wait for this screen to come back, and while we're doing that, go to the NIM server, run the NIM command to create all the NIM resources and set it up again. And once that's done again, we'll press the X key, option number 1, and boot. And here we see now the TFTP boot taking off for our host number C32. This is all happening in real time. I haven't shortened it yet. In a few moments, there is sort of a boring part that takes about 2 minutes, and I'll compress that a little bit. But for right now, basically seeing a hands-free installation in real time. Now the key here, if you recall from reading the article, is that we created a resource called bolstinst_data. That's the type. And because we said prompt is no, it immediately goes in and does the install. And now I'm going to start compressing the time a little bit rather than going 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes waiting for it to get to 93% done. When we get to that, I'll go back to real time. So for right now, we're a little bit compressed, doing some pauses and restarts so that you do actually see everything that happens. So just wait a bit. Now what's happening here is you see there's this MKSysB data being restored. This is actually the MKSysB data resource that we made. If you don't do this, there's a very small file called BOS, which is part of the normal runtime environment install, and that will get installed. And that installs very fast. But then you get these screens that run for about 20 minutes where he starts installing file set by file set by file set. So right now, what it's doing is just simply this one big MKSysB file we made. He's basically doing a restore onto all the different file systems that it had just created. This is why this install runs so fast now. So 82% installed. And 93% installed. Now I have the video running again in real time. From 0%, where we're just creating the file systems, up until now, it's been running compressed. But now, basically, step by step, we'll see the MKSysB file complete. %. Real time does seem to get a little bit slower, doesn't it? But the key here is we're going to go to a black screen. At that point, everything's done. Overmounting, black screen, Actually, up at the top of the screen, you'll see this little tiny bit about overmounting. Now it's completely black. And now there's a screen coming which is going to say, hey, I didn't find some things. Now, this screen, for some reason, always shows up, but the file sets are actually there. So I've never understood why that shows up, but it does. Okay, this is an important moment. When the system actually booted, it created a customized ODM database. Now it's copying it to the disk, because this will be important. It has to have this customized part before it creates its own boot disk. So this is copying from the RAM to the disk. 89% done with our tasks. Still only at 4 minutes. Now we're creating the boot image. It's HD5. And once the boot image is complete, we'll reboot. So we're still at just over 4 minutes for this install. Okay, our last little bit of copyright messages. And we start the reboot. If you would go and look at the HMC now, you would see the, say, the LED codes showing that he's doing some decodes first, some Z codes just to restart, into the SMS menu again, and now he's rebooting, and directly from the disk because he's changed the boot disk. So here we see down at the bottom, the boot device is the virtual device. It's vSCSI, big LUN number 81 and lots of zeros, and then item number 2 on the list, and we're booting. Now here we see the basic things running here. Okay, because I did have in etc. file systems, all these file systems already created for the NIM volume group, he's saying, oops, can't mount these things. Not a problem. Should go back and clean that up another time, but right now, okay, not a big issue. Rebuild of script info file is completed. Okay, and now something also very important, the Tivoli Global User ID utility. This gets run automatically during a first boot. This is important because this needs to be unique on every single system. And now the other thing which is important, if you recall, I said let's install the SSH daemon bundle, and so now it has created a unique host ID. And basically we're done. There are a couple more things that need to be done. You see these success messages coming through. I typed root and a T through it all. But basically, just to make sure, the SSH daemon, wait a second. Yes, it's there. Okay, all done. AIX is installed.